Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here, youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And of course, tape it live Monday through Friday now at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, simultaneously on the Twitch and at the YouTube, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, of course, we're going to be doing a simulcast also of the Royal Rumble, watch along. Yep. Watch along, thank you. And then, of course, we'll be doing our review right afterwards. So be sure to join us for that. All sorts of Rumble news, I'm sure, coming up this week. Also, Friday night, we're going to be doing a watch along of the Go Home episode of SmackDown with the review right afterwards. So be sure to check that out. I think we're probably going to end up doing our predictions in that episode.
That would make sense.
And then I can just clip them and put them over at Friendo Club TV for the people who want the smaller version of it.
That makes sense.
I think that makes a little bit of sense.
That makes sense.
So we'll be doing that. Also, of note, before we get into this episode, which we're going to be talking about The Rock's plans or lack thereof for WrestleMania, talking about AEW's plans or lack thereof for CM Punk, and Dax's plans or lack thereof for the FTR returning to WWE. Plus, we're going to be talking about Impact Wrestling. I wanted to mention this first, though, of course, on Thursday nights over at the Twitch, we have a lot of fun with the Smash Zone.
We do.
Which we watch a bunch of random stuff. And you know what? At this point, I'm like, this show... A lot of people have asked us, hey, where can we watch the VOD? And generally speaking, we just make it disappear. But
generally speaking, we say you can't.
Right. But now
it happens,
you can't.
Poof, gone.
Now you can. We're making it available for $5 and up patrons and, of course, YouTube channel members. And the process is this. From this week, meaning last night's episode, going forward, I will be uploading those for the patrons and YouTube channel members. And then I will slowly, as time goes on, throughout the weeks and months, I'll be uploading legacy episodes, the old episodes of Smash Zone as well. So right now, I uploaded Volume 4, which is the fourth one we did. I uploaded that, and then I also uploaded last night's episode, Volume 68. So those are available right now as we head into Volume 69 coming up next Thursday. So you can check that out. So right now, added incentive for patrons, YouTube channel members. Also later on today at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing our bonus episode for patrons, Overrun. We're doing it on Fridays now, which I think is appropriate. You know, it's the overrun. Yeah. It's the overrun for the week. Yeah. You know,
and usually the end of our week. Yes.
Right. Exactly. So we're going to be doing that today live for the friendos there on the Patreon and for YouTube channel members. And then, of course, coming up February 18th, the latest live Action Coast Wrestling show. It's our wrestling promotion. It's a real thing where people wrestle. Now, it's the same day as Elimination Chamber. Yes. So you and I are going to talk about exactly how we're going to handle that.
Yeah, the logistics of all that. But I guess the positive for people who want to attend is that Elimination Chamber starts at 5.
Yeah.
It'll probably be about a 3-hour show. Guess what? ACW Hot Stuff show starts at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. So
maybe you missed a little bit of the beginning of Hot Stuff. You want to stay at home and watch Elimination Chamber. But you can get both shows in one day if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, if you want to meet Steve and Larson, if you're in the Northern California area, we will be there. We'll mix it up at the end of the show when everything's said and done. We'll hang out. And, if somebody wants to, for whatever reason, take a picture with my arm on their shoulder, they can do that. I think that'd be swell. Maybe you'll bring Big Red. They can get a picture with Big Red. There it is right there. But then they can we'll bring it.
That's as close as anybody else is getting to that title, I'll tell you
what. Oh, man. So, yeah, February 18th should be a lot of fun. So let's dive into it, man. First up, we're going to talk about The Rock at WrestleMania because, Larson, for more than a year now, the rumored main event of WrestleMania 39 was, of course, Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, versus The Rock.
I'll say this. Ever since they announced that Mania was going to be in L.A.,
yeah, right. Yeah.
That was the rumored main event. It was supposed to be, Mania 37
was supposed to be in LA, and that was the rumor for that. It was like, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
In this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer reported that as of now, it's not looking like Dwayne will be ready for in-ring action by early April, saying this. Those close to the situation have noted WWE coming out with new Rock merchandise, but said that is more related to the 30th anniversary of Raw. We were told that unless he changes his mind in the next few days, since the deadline for Mania plans is coming, that he's indicated he won't have time to get into the kind of shape he feels he needs to be in to do a main event match with Roman Reigns, but kept the door open for something in the future. Of course, it is a possibility that it's something being kept a secret from everyone. WWE has always had a backup direction this year, given they were aware Johnson was not a sure thing for some time. And as time went on and he didn't agree, felt the likelihood had lessened. I don't know that he's officially turned it down, but the only indication is that it was considered less likely than a few months ago. Johnson right now has different projects going on, most importantly, the launching of the XFL, which debuts the weekend of February 18th. Hot stuff. And he will be very heavily involved. It's weird that Meltzer would put that in his newsletter. And he'll be very heavily involved with the promotion of the league. He said he would need to have training time to be able to get into ring shape, so his decision comes down to his belief of having adequate time to prepare. Larson, I'll be honest with you. I've seen Black Adam. I think he's in great shape. I think he could totally do this match. Hold on. Wait. I don't know if you've seen this movie. This dude can fly now. He can move. He busts through walls instead of using hallways. This guy's in phenomenal shape.
Listen,
he's gonna do it.
Just because he has superpowers doesn't mean you could do a pro wrestling match for 30 minutes, man.
I think it
There's
does.
a level of cardio there involved in putting on a 30-minute main event bout that that takes something akin to a superpower apparently to pull off.
I saw him have a whole.
Let me finish, damn it. You hear stories of people doing these WWE tryouts. They think, hey, I could be a professional wrestler. They go in there and they start the workouts, and what do? They vomit everywhere because the level of cardio necessary to pull off a 30-minute main event match is unbeknownst to most of us.
He had a 2-hour match against the Justice Society, man. I think it can handle Roman Reigns.
Steve went to film school yet doesn't understand how movie magic happens. Okay, got it.
Listen,
The Rock's in phenomenal shape. He's jacked. He's huge.
Yeah,
that's different from being ready to wrestle for 30 minutes. Completely different thing.
Man, number one, this match does not need to be 30 minutes. This match does not need to be 30 minutes. They
Steve
could do 12.
Spear. Sorry,
Steve
Steve wants
12.
Superman punch, spear, guillotine. Roman wins.
Man, I do think that there is the possibility that this is a bit of misdirection.
It's entirely possible.
These days with Dave Meltzer, things come with a grain of salt anyways, But, yeah, I don't know. I think that, obviously what Meltzer's saying is true. He's obviously a very busy guy, and yes, and I know, all jokes aside, I understand that, you need some training in advance to get, like you said, the cardio up. I get that. But also, would it be like a really great idea for him to tease this on his freaking sitcom on NBC? If there was the idea that it wasn't going to happen, and that's not the only time it's sort of been teased. There's been multiple teases of this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sort of, look, and here's my thing. I'm not even holding out hope. I don't care. I'd rather see Cody versus Roman Reigns in the main event, or Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns in the main event, or whatever. I think that there are more interesting things to do with Roman Reigns, but I do also recognize that the idea, the legacy of Roman Reigns right now and his run as the tribal chief, I think is such that it deserves something huge like Rock versus Roman Reigns. And for that reason, I'd like to see it, but I don't need to see it. I don't really give a shit, to be honest with you, if The Rock is there or not. I like them rolling with people who are there every single week for that spot,
Yeah, agreed. And I'm kind of the same opinion as you, that if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, then Cody will probably be winning those titles at WrestleMania, and that's a huge moment too. Could this all be misdirection, a bit of subterfuge from WWE? Entirely possible. All we've been hearing for months is, will The Rock show up at Mania? If he can. And he's had at the least more than a year, if not, 2+ years?
Yeah.
To find a way to work this into his schedule. If he wants to do it. If he wants to do it. It seems like he has had adequate time, if he wants to do it, to work into his schedule. If this is a priority for him, you would think. I understand, the life of a Hollywood A-lister like The Rock is. You think you got stuff scheduled, huge project comes along, well, can't pass this up. You got to move things around. I understand that, but this is a priority for him. You think maybe he'd find the time to do it.
Well, here's the thing also, is that he just had one giant thing removed off his plate, and that's trying to run DC.
Yeah.
The DC Universe arm at Warner Brothers Discovery, because he went all in on the Black Adam thing. Thought that because of the power vacuum there was a great write-up. I don't know if it was Deadline of Variety or something like that. There was a great write-up about this, how there was a big power vacuum at Warner Brothers Discovery as it pertains to DC, because they've notoriously been really, stop and start, hot and cold about how they're approaching the DC properties.
Yep.
And he tried to fill that void, kickstarting it again with Black Adam, bringing Henry Cavill back. And then we saw all that fell apart because they brought on James Gunn instead. And so that leaves The Rock on the outside looking in. But going back to what you were saying, I know he's got the XFL. So he does like some interviews with that. Okay. Kind of big deal. This idea has been out there for years. And now, like 3 months away, like it's coming down to, and you're like, nah. Like, why? Especially like the thing was, he wrote it in his damn show. Like, why would you do that unless you're like, hey, out of respect to the WWE, out of respect to Roman Reigns, who he put in one of his movies? Why did it go in there? Somebody who said this here in our Twitch chat. FTW Assassin, Rock versus Roman. It just has to be similar to Hogan versus Rock. Play to the crowd. Let me ask you this. Do you think Rock is cardio-wise in worse shape than Hogan was back in 2002 or whatever that was?
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think so
either.
I would think an aspect of his workout regimen, which is extensive, would involve cardio on a regular basis.
Well, I would think that Rock walking around now on his cheat day would be in better cardio shape than Hogan was back then. And that match is honestly one of my, and not because of the work rate, obviously, but like that was a fun match to watch because of the magnitude of it. That's all what did you guys, nobody needs a Daniel Bryan match. You know what I mean? Like,
no one needs a work rate match. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
They don't need this to be that. It just be, like you said, greatest hits. So I don't know. Alex Silva says
it's
spoilers.
entirely
what spoilers
possible.
Did I do?
It's entirely possible. He doesn't do the match. It's entirely possible. He shows up on Raw for the acknowledgement ceremony. With every generation of the bloodline on Raw. It either could happen. Maybe he shows up after the Rumble, The Rock that is. Maybe he shows up on the Raw or SmackDown afterward. Maybe he doesn't show up at all. Don't know. If it happens, it happens. That's kind of my attitude. If it happens, cool. If it doesn't, it's fine too.
Yeah, that's my attitude as a fan. But it's interesting to talk about the business aspect of things. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed like an aspect of the story that is really kind of obvious and there. And theirs for the taking if Rock wanted to do it. It is, if he doesn't end up doing it, it is going to end up being one of those what ifs, and maybe it's going to be, maybe whatever does transpire. And I kind of think whatever does transpire is going to be better than story wise if he had, because there's a lot of intriguing stuff going on with Sammy and the bloodline and then Cody and his return and everything. I think there's probably more interesting things, that could come of this. But the spectacle of Rock versus Roman Reigns, I understand is attractive. And for that spectacle, I'd like to see it. And the idea that Roman would beat The Rock at WrestleMania, I think that's a really cool idea.
That'd be a huge achievement for Roman.
But, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm just sort of looking forward to how they're going to tell whatever story they're going to tell, because I think they've done a really good job in telling it. It hasn't been a clunky road, thus far. And I'm interested to see what Triple H is going to bring to WrestleMania.
Same. Let's talk about AEW, specifically Phil Brooks, CM Punk. So we're about 4 months removed from Brawl Out and all that happened there and the fallout from it. And we still don't have any firm indication whether CM Punk is done with AEW or not. There was talk that they were working out a buyout for him, but apparently that hasn't happened. Anyways, in the latest Observer newsletter, Meltzer reports that we're still maybe months away from knowing whether Phil Brooks, CM Punk, is coming back to AEW. Is what Meltzer had to say. Quote, we're still months away from when Tony Khan will have to make a call regarding Punk. It's not the easiest call because of all that happened, but Punk was a ratings draw, and ratings are weaker than before generally. If there's even positive house show movement right now from the Punk side, the belief is that Tony Khan has put Punk on ice for now, as there are no ideas to use him that have been presented, but no talk at all of late to release him either. I know Phil has been active on the Instagram with some data, some charts, some analytics about how he was, in fact, plus Delta.
Wait,
AEW.
Is that what? I have not seen that. He was showing pie graphs and shit?
Well, he had some stuff about how his, like, YouTube stuff was the most viewed and rating stuff.
I think I did hear about that. Okay. Merchandise sales and stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. How he was plus Delta. So, you know, he responded to something MJF said as well. So it's like he's still keeping himself involved, you know, in the periphery of what's going on in AEW. We haven't heard any talk of the buyout for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to happen, but it seems like the likelihood potentially of CM Punk maybe coming back to AEW is maybe slightly higher than it was 4 months ago. Actually, significantly higher than it was 4 months ago, but slightly higher than it was even 4 or 5 weeks ago.
I agree with that, man. I think your prediction of him wrestling this year is probably going to come true. I think that's going to happen. I think that he is, if he hadn't been so active in social media, and, you know, I go back to Dax's podcast, the very first episode, where he was talking so much about CM Punk, and I cracked a joke, you know, when people talk about CM Punk, he, you know, defriends them. He unfriends them. It wouldn't shock me if Punk, you know, gave Dax his blessing to say, hey, go out and say this, because I think he wants to come back. I think he wants to come back to AEW. I think he's going to have to, you know, maybe he'll have to eat a little bit of crow and apologize to some people.
Yep.
Maybe with the expectation that he'll get an apology back. But, you know, I mean, honestly, and I understand, you know, Alvarez had noted, and this is true on BTE, Matt Jackson said this was the worst 2 months of his life. But I don't know. You know, yeah, did he sit there and eviscerate the company? Yeah, sure. But, like, time heals those kinds of wounds, you know? I don't think there's really anything he said that was so, I don't know what you could say that's so over the top that, you know, 6 months or 9 months or whatever it's going to be isn't going to, you know, heal those wounds to the extent that you can make good on it. And then it's just a matter of, does he want to? And dude, from everything from his social media standpoint says this guy wants to come back. He wants to make things good with AEW for whatever reason, because either he doesn't want to leave money on the table, or he just has a bad taste in his mouth with how things went down. You know, maybe he has some regrets on getting up there and just laying it all. Maybe he thinks, hey, dude, I really should have done this a different way, because I'd still be celebrated. Not wrestling, but at least people, I'd get the Cody Rhodes treatment. You know, they'd start doing video packages on me and me being at doctors and stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Instead of him just posting pictures on Instagram of him in the gym.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, that's the build-up package for his return.
Yeah. Comments on his snarky comments on Instagram posts. That's his video package for his return. Exactly. That's his beautiful day from U2 package.
Yeah. So it remains to be seen if all parties involved could sit down and work. I mean, this is what it's been since probably the day after Brawl Out. If all parties could sit down and work things out, they'll work together. If they can't, they won't.
Yeah.
And I guess to an extent, the all parties have. I mean, Punk doesn't because he's hurt, but there's a certain advantage in him being on the sidelines, is that he's away from the equation for a while. He's not in the locker room. Everybody in the locker room can make their own evaluations whether they want him back or not, including Tony Khan, including the Elite. CM Punk can see what's going on in AEW now without him. Determine if he wants to rejoin that locker room or not. And then once Punk is maybe healthy enough to maybe start working out, like in the ring, seriously, start wrestling again, then the conversation, I'm sure Phil will call up Tony Khan and be like, hey, what can we do? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And if the sentiment in the locker room is we're better off without CM Punk, then the odds of Punk coming back, I'd say, are pretty minimal.
It's going to be really interesting because either, you know, there seemed to be some sort of faction backstage, including Chris Jericho most prominently, that has no desire and has, in fact, you know, if reports are to be believed, said something to the effect of, I'm going to make sure this dude never comes back.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of weird political power play there is backstage, and what kind of reports come out from both sides of that, because that's what's going to happen. It's going to be, there's going to be, there's going to be oddly worded reports about Punk talking shit about Chris Jericho, and it's like, oh wait, is Chris Jericho leaking that out? It's going to be a bunch of weird shit that we're going to be reporting on and putting thumbnails and titles up and cashing out on, which is great, because wrestling drama is really silly. Yeah, because it's all fake fighting and a lot of real fighting goes on backstage. But yeah, it's going to be a weird time when he's ready to come back, because there's going to be people advocating for it. There's going to be people, advocating against it, and we're all going to get to hear the drama and try to figure out who's telling the truth. What's real and what's fake, man.
We're gonna have this constant bickering going on between various wrestling news
exactly
outlets.
What it's going to be.
The outlets themselves, but people leaking information to said outlets and reporting on it, and then it's going to be a lot like what happened after Brawl Out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, one of these men is telling the truth. I'm CM Punk. I'm CM Punk. I'm CM Punk. Anyways,
I am Phil Brooks. I am Phil Brooks. I am Phil Brooks.
You want to pay some bills while we're at it?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's take a quick break here, friendos. This episode of Going In Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. Steve, it took me quite a while to find out what I'm like when I'm at my best. And I've talked about it here on the show quite a bit. There's a few years in my 20s where I was feeling really overwhelmed by life and started dealing with severe anxiety. And it got to the point where I made the realization that I needed to go to therapy. Working with the therapist helped me find better ways to cope with my anxiety, empowered me to be more prepared for whatever life throws my way, and set me on the path for hopefully becoming a better Larson.
Oh, man, I think you're well on that path. And if you're thinking about giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, flexible, affordable, and completely online. All you got to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get you matched up with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time and for no additional charge.
If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit BetterHelp.com/raw today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/raw.
Quick reminder here, there's 400 people watching on the YouTube. Do us a huge favor. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, a little notify bell. Later on in the show, it's always nice whenever Paul calls in, because we got a SmackDown tonight, so Paul's going to call in.
Yes.
He might have some words for you after making him talk to me.
Well, that's between him and I, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to prepare you. Hopefully you got that on your mind. I'm here to help.
I'm not worried about it.
All right. Anyways, one thing that we might be worried about is whether or not we're going to see FTR and WWE programming.
Say yeah or say no.
Say nay. Because ever since Dax Harwood told Fightful that FTR's contracts were set to expire this April, and announcing recently that FTR had been granted a leave from AEW for the next few months, possibly through the end of their contract, we'd speculated on the possibility of the revival returning to WWE. On the most recent episode of his podcast, FTR Without Cash, Dax talked about that possibility and how the return of Vince McMahon to WWE could influence their decision. These transcripts come to you via Fightful. Dax said this. We got
to a little backstory. Yeah, before going into his...
So, he tells a little story about being in WWE as prelude. We got to the back after we won the belts, and we were all proud of the match, all four of us. We were super happy about the match. We come to the back, and Vince is there waiting for us, off his headset. I'm hoping that, since he's off his headset, he's going to tell us, that was incredible. That was a great job. That was storytelling. I don't know where Dax has been all this time, but I don't think Vince uses words like storytelling. Anyway.
Doesn't seem like it, no.
Dax continues. He comes to us, and he goes to the New Day, because that's who they had their match with, and he says, "Hey, great job, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it." They walk off. He leaves me and Cash there. That's when he says, "Everyone tells me that you guys are the next great tag team. Everyone tells me you're the next Arn and Tully. Well, that's your problem. You are the next Arn and Tully. You're just great wrestlers, that's all." And he walks off. I'm like, the son of a bitch thinks that he just hurt my feelings by saying that. But he didn't. He made my dreams come true by telling me that we're the next Arn and Tully, that we're just a tag team, we're just great wrestlers. He didn't like us. He wasn't enamored with us. I think it had a lot to do with this accent that I have coming from North Carolina because he's from North Carolina. His real father grew up in North Carolina. He went to East Carolina and he hated that whole culture. I think that maybe the accent or maybe just us in general reminded him of that too. Maybe he just didn't like us, period. That's okay. Maybe he didn't like our work. That's okay too. But he didn't like us for some reason, and he made sure to tell us that day with our brand new belts in our hands on a high. We're the first ever WWE Triple Crown Tag Team Champions. WWE Raw, SmackDown, NXT. No one else had ever done that at the time except for us. We were so proud of that moment, he decided to shit on us in that moment. That's the kind of thing. As a human being, I'll never forget how you try to make people feel. The fans were with us, so obviously we didn't hurt your business. We went out there, put our life on the line for you, for your company, and coming back to the back, as much endorphins running through our body, and you decide to say that to us? That's one of the things I can't ever forget. We talked about what I'm going to do in the future. We talk about what I'm going to do in the future. And now that I think about that, and with him back at the helm, makes us a little questionable for old Dax.
Not surprising. We'd speculated that'd be one of the potential outcomes of Vince, even just returning as chairman of the board. Because the idea is, well, if he's there in some capacity, who's to say, as the man who owns the company, he's going to expand his role to creative yet again?
Why would you want the looming threat every day that at any moment this dude can put you in a clown suit and contractually you'd have to do it?
Yep.
That sounds like a nightmare. I wouldn't do that at all.
No way.
And dude, I tell you, FTR, they're not going to be the only ones who are thinking about this stuff when they see that WWE is an option for them. Well, is it WWE under Triple H or is it WWE under Vince McMahon?
Or is it WWE under Triple H now? Who's to say that won't change at some point during the duration of our deal if Vince decides to change it?
They need some clauses in the contract. Like our contract stipulates that we only answer to Triple H, and if we catch any hint that Vince McMahon is calling the shots, we get to get out of there.
Released.
No compete clause.
There we go.
A yes compete clause.
Yes, compete. Feel free to compete clause.
Yeah, I don't know if they'd allow that. But I mean, leverage is everything. You know, I mean, it really is. If Triple H wants FTR enough, maybe lawyers can make it happen, or maybe he's like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. I don't know. Maybe you can ask him that when he calls in today. I don't know.
I mean, you go back to what the deal with the Young Bucks deals that they were offered apparently with WWE, where they had a 6-month out.
If you don't like it, 6 months from now, you can get out of here.
So, I mean, if they were willing to give the Young Bucks those type of deals, reportedly, you know, who's to say that FTR couldn't ask for? I mean, Cody has the most complicated contract in wrestling history.
Right.
I'm sure there's some clauses in there.
Somebody tries to put me in
himself.
Somebody tries to Stardust me. I get a yes compete clause. I'm out of here. That could be. Yeah, there you go. A month-to-month contract. Just a really lucrative appearance deal.
There you go.
Yeah, do that.
And then they'd be free to wrestle all over the country still.
But no, what you're saying is right, man. Like this is like we have talked about this endlessly ever since Vince McMahon has come back. Is this going to affect WWE trying to get new talent? And yes, it is. Like there's a war for talent going on right now. Every contract that comes up, people are going to be like, okay, well, does this work for our company? And then these free agents are going to be like, well, you know, is this going to work for me? I see how Triple H is. He's trying to push all these people that that were released. He's giving them jobs, but then this dude is back who might want to, start releasing people again. I don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to deal with that dark cloud over the company, over your time there. Yeah. I wouldn't think.
Yeah, it'd be a pain in the butt.
You would think so. You'd think so. It seems like, obviously in front of the camera, I'm sure a lot of times in the locker room, the Revival had a lot of great experiences under WWE. But you hear about a lot of their interactions with Vince personally, and they sound pretty crappy.
Yeah,
absolutely. The story, you got the pitch to them with the clown outfits, essentially. It's like he just obviously didn't understand what made them great and why they appeal to the fans so much. He just saw them as really good wrestlers and nothing else.
Yeah. and that wasn't enough. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful just tweeted, WWE has confirmed to Fightful Select that they're doing office cuts right now. That's a bummer. That's a drag. That kind of shit happens whenever there's, they're trying to slim down the budget and all that kind of stuff. That's why we were released. They were trying to sell machinima. Anyways, then they got like fucking pennies. The Warner's was like, wait, Steven Larson's not with you guys? Oh, we'll offer you a bologna sandwich.
Fraction. You want to talk Impact Wrestling?
Holy crap, what a weird episode that was. A definite new direction for Impact.
Yes.
With no more Scott D'Amore visibly on camera at the helm.
Yeah.
Instead, we had a comedy act, Santino Marella.
Yeah.
It made the what do you say? It made the whole vibe of the show just different. I'm not going to say it made it bad. It made it weird.
Yeah. I mean, Scott D'Amore was so central to what Impact had kind of become over the last couple of years, pretty much since I've started watching on a regular basis. And as authority figures go, he was a relatively entertaining one. He got involved only when he had to. He was, for the most part, a face authority figure, but he wasn't afraid to take sides.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And obvious sides. I mean, he did everything he could to jack with Honor No More, and that was hilarious.
Yeah, but he did that in a way that, I don't know, it felt genuine to the atmosphere of the show.
Yeah.
And Scott D'Amore, the character, always seemed like he was trying to hold that place together. And he was able to do so with, like you said, a sort of a fearlessness of whatever characters he's dealing with. He didn't feel intimidated by people. He gave people plenty of leeway. And he was always fair. He was like one of my favorite authority figures.
Yeah.
I really liked his time doing that. I mean, I think he still runs it behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
But then Santino debuted at Hard to Kill, and he's in full Santino mode.
Comedy mode, yeah, because he's director of authority. He's got a badge.
He's got a little badge, yeah.
And I don't know. It's only one episode, but I can't really say I'm terribly into it because sometimes as an authority figure, I just want someone to come out and say, all right, this is what's going to happen. And so much of this episode was Santino essentially learning how to be authority figure.
Yeah.
And it makes his authority a bit toothless.
Yeah, right.
When it's an obvious thing, and that's the joke. I get it. For the opening segment, there's a promo with Mickie James. Bully Ray comes out and interrupts. They have a back and forth. And it leads to 6 people being in the ring.
Yeah.
And he's like, how do I work this out? How do we solve this issue? And I know it's the joke. The joke is, well, six person tag match. It makes all sense. I mean, it's cool we saw Ernest Miller. That was great.
Yeah, I'm very happy I did not spoil the taping for myself because I did not expect that at all. And it's a delight to see him, but at the same time, yeah, it's like
move the show along, please. That's what your job is, to move the show along as authority figure in a lot of ways.
The atmosphere was so weird because you have this unsettling, to say the least, opening bit with Bully Ray and Mickie James, and Bully Ray basically threatening to like make things a little dark here. You know what I mean? Like he's like, get out of my ring. You know what I can do. It's like, are you going to beat up a woman? Like, I don't know. You get into the whole discussion of like intergender wrestling. Like what is the acceptable line of intergender wrestling that you kind of don't cross when it becomes unsettling? You know what I mean? And we were going there last night. And I actually do appreciate that they were able to walk that line without, I feel, ever crossing it. I thought they tried to get as close as they could to crossing the line, but I don't think they ever did. And I like Mickey's response to him saying, hey, I don't know if I can beat you, but if you're going to do something, then do something.
Well, she wasn't going to back down to him, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I like that. And I like their interaction in the actual match as well.
And also when Jordan Grace got Bully Ray up on her shoulders and was about to like hit him with a Death Valley driver or something.
She's a powerhouse, yeah.
And he escapes and he leaves.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He just walks out on his team after that.
Yeah. So you have this really sort of unsettling turn, and there's no authority figure out there. And then Santino comes out and he turns it into well, I mean, I know first it's like, Savannah Evans and Tasha Steelz, they come out, and that sort of relieves a bit of that tension. And then Kazarian comes out randomly, and Jordan Grace comes out. And so it's like, oh man, there's serious people out there doing serious stuff. And then you've got Santino, and Santino's vibe just does not match Bully Ray's. It's just weird, He's like, hey, I can fire you right now, man. And Bully's like, okay, well, am I like supposed to be the sinister figure? Am I supposed to like take this guy seriously? I think that's what it was. Like, Bully's supposed to be this like dirtbag, this total scumbag.
Yeah.
And then he's supposed to take Santino's threat seriously.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, it was a bit of an interesting new vibe for the show. We did get an awesome main event. Mike Bailey, Kenny King in a fight pit match, and it was violent. It was creative, and it had a finish that I did not see coming.
I loved this match.
It was pretty awesome.
This match was flipping awesome. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I've seen Bloodsport, obviously, and but fight pit match, it's more of an MMA type thing, no ropes. And that finish with the number one, they got very creative with the violence in this match, but that finish with the chair on Kenny King's face and Speedball just kicking the shit out of it that one time, it was like an execution shot.
Yeah.
And the look on his face afterwards when the ref was like, okay, no, we're done.
Yeah.
He's out.
Yeah.
The look on Speedball's face, I was like, is there any hint of him thinking that he crossed the line? And in that moment, I didn't see it. He was in full like feral mode, basically.
Yep.
And I thought it was really cool. And I'm actually interested to see what they do next week, what his reflection on that is going to be, because, oh my God, he just finished Kenny King pretty decisively. It was pretty badass.
Yeah, it was. And from a character perspective, what we've seen as Speedball is, in the ring he can go, but on the mic, he's like a laid back dude.
Super nice guy, yeah.
He usually speaks in really even tones, doesn't raise his voice. Even in the ring, he doesn't do a whole lot of talking. He's just awesome in the ring.
Let me ask you something. Given what you just said, do you think that this extra level of violence might be the thing that perhaps kicks him to the next level, the world title scene? I mean, I know he had the hour-long match with Josh Alexander, which is one reason to say, hey, he deserves to be up there. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is going to, lead to a character shift that could elevate him to that next level?
I hope so, because seeing that match and the way it finished and his reaction to the finish, it was character development. He's gone to another level, and this is how he's reacted to it. And right now, after hitting that stiff head kick to Kenny King with the chair over his head, it wasn't like he showed any immediate regrets.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like a Hangman situation where he's what did I just do? No,
there seemingly was no conflicts within him about it.
Yeah,
it was done. He felt like that's what he needed to do.
Yeah,
and that's that. And that's a different direction from the Speedball that we had seen prior.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I know he teased it on one of his promos recently, where I think he challenged Kenny King to the fight pit match, which was, hey, you've driven me this far. This is what I have to do now. Mm-hmm. Now what is the Speedball Mike Bailey character after that moment? After he's unleashed that level of violence against somebody else, is that something that he's going to do more on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Are we going to get a more violent, a more vicious Speedball? Mm-hmm. It remains to be seen. It's an interesting development. I'm curious to see where they go, because, 2022, Mike Bailey was one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Yeah, he was, absolutely.
It was must-watch TV whenever he had a match, whether it was Impact or anywhere else.
Yeah.
And the guy can go in the ring. Mm-hmm. Now tell stories with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it seems like hopefully that's what they're doing.
Man, there's all sorts of ways they can go. I mean, one of the more obvious ones is, maybe something next for Bully Ray. I mean, maybe Bully will do something with Kazarian in the short term. I don't know, because he was out there randomly. But
yeah.
But
first Bully Ray's got to get through Tommy Dreamer, apparently.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they had like a mini busted open radio session here with Tommy Dreamer. That shouldn't really be. That should be like sort of a, quick.
No, Tommy should probably find someone to get his proxy or something.
Right.
Look, I respect Tommy Dreamer's had a hell of a career.
Yeah.
You know, what he's done in the ring over his career. Hats off to him.
Where's the butt? Let's hear it.
Well, I mean, he had that match. Didn't he have a match
He
against
did,
Bully
yeah.
already?
Yeah, he did.
And,
yeah. He shouldn't be. Yeah, he shouldn't. Yeah. Bully, you know, I appreciate I do actually, after the meandering storyline of is Bully Ray to be trusted, I'm cool with Bully Ray. And also your comments about Bully Ray being the Brock Lesnar of Impact.
I mean, if you want to bring menace to Impact, Bully Ray's the guy to do it.
Bully Ray.
He's the guy to do it.
Yeah, he really is. Could you imagine, like, you know, Bully Ray, you know, trying to either mentor or just pick on Speedball, say, hey, you think you're hot shit because of that Fight Pit match, and getting a little program between Speedball and Bully Ray.
Oh, and have Speedball kick Bully in the head like he did in this match.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that needs to be his new thing. Like, he's like a regular sanctioned normal match, and he gets the chair, puts it to the guy's head, and they're like, wait, this is you can't do that in this match. He's like, Grr. He's like, I'll take the loss. He's like, it feels so good.
Yeah.
To kick the chair against his head, because the way the chair was positioned, it was like a motion that made it just seem like he just ended the guy,
because it didn't seem like a kick. He like stomped. It was a stomp.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know, on the chair, and it was, you know, like if he just like super kicked it or something like that, it would have felt more pro wrestling.
His shit is so crisp that it felt like a piston.
Yeah,
it was just like a da-doom. Yeah, it was sick. I like this. Jonathan here on Twitch chat says a Bully pulls Speedball backstage and berates him about respect. You need to have respect for this industry.
Yeah,
he gets a chair.
Because Speedball's sitting ringside, huh?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Hey, you need
pulls
to
him
respect
aside.
people.
There we go. I guess we can get into it. Show kicked off with they had a in memory of Jay Briscoe card.
Yeah.
Tom Hannafin narrated a bit over it. So it's nice they got that on there.
Yeah,
I'm sure
absolutely.
the show was taped. Well, this might have been taped earlier this week, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
it's probably
imagine
it
this was taped
this past weekend. Yeah,
probably the day after Hard to Kill. Hard to Kill was on Friday, so it might have been over the weekend.
Saturday
They
or
might have
Sunday.
done it over the weekend. Yeah.
I think they do the tapings over the weekend. And then they had a Hard to Kill recap, and then Mickie James comes to the ring for a promo.
Hold on. We have your typical post pay-per-view 20-minute talking segment with Impact.
Yes.
They always do this.
They always do. They got to set things up for the next pay-per-view cycle, I guess. So she says the last rodeo may be over, but hardcore country lives forever because there's a new champ in the house. She says to the crowd, I love you guys so much. And if there's one thing I could say to everyone, thank you. And she's interrupted by Bully Ray.
Yeah.
And he gets to the ring and just points to the ramp.
Yeah. He's like, you get out of here. And Mickey's like, oh, do you want me to leave? He said, I didn't. As she's saying that, he says, I didn't tell you to talk. I told you to leave. And Mickey says, and the crowd's just giving Bully so much shit. She says, well, based off this crowd, there's only one person they want to get out of this ring. They're like, get out, Bully. She says, so Bully, why not do us all a favor and get the hell out of my ring? And he says, enough talking. You're wasting your time. This is not your ring. You're not in the main event of Hard to Kill. I was the main event of Hard to Kill, even though she was.
Yeah.
He says, notice how I didn't say me and Josh Alexander. It was me. I was the main event. I was the draw. I was the guy who sold this place out, and they sit here and cheer for Mickey. He says, I'm the one who did all the work. Before I got to this company 4 months ago, nobody wanted to talk about Impact. He says, I made Josh. Wrestling media just wants to talk about Josh and how he overcame Bully. If it wasn't for me, Josh would be a nobody. Even though Josh had the lengthiest title reign on Impact before.
Yeah,
Bully. No. Anyways, he says, now you can talk. And then Mickey's like, okay, are you done talking about yourself like you always do? She says, the only headline I saw was Bully Ray tapped out. And the Bully's like, oh, boy. Oh, this is your last warning. The next words that come out of your mouth better be chosen very wisely. And then Mickey says, you know, I work with you on a weekly basis, and when it comes to this business, I have a lot of respect for you. But when it comes to the man that you've been in this ring and backstage, you've shown your true colors. A bitter bully politicking his way and throwing a tantrum whenever he doesn't get it. She says, I know what you've done to women in this business and how you feel about them. But damn it, I won't back down from you. So if you want me out of this ring, take me out of this ring. And then Bully drops his mic. But then we get interrupted by Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans.
Yeah. Tasha says, I'm not the biggest Bully Ray fan, but last time that we saw each other, you were pressing me over the top rope at Bound for Glory. but I want a front row seat if this is going to be Bully versus Mickey. And she says, Mickey is down here celebrating tonight. But what are you really celebrating? What is your headline about? The real headline everyone should be talking about is that you still can't beat me. And Mickey's about to talk, and Tasha smacks the mic out of her hand, and then Mickey shoves her. And Bully tells Tasha, hey, don't take crap from her. She's a 2-bit champion. And Tasha says, I'm the greatest to beat the greatest. The reason I came out here is to take back what's mine to get the knockout titles back. And she says to Bully, if you want to pop her upside her head, don't leave us out.
Oof. And then Evans knocks Mickey out from behind. Tasha and Evans stomp on James. Bully immediately goes to the outside and starts looking for a table.
Yeah.
That brings out Kazarian and Jordan Grace to make the save, and that's when Santino comes down. And it's just this long hemming and hawing about, I know this situation calls for me to do something. To make a match, I'm going to figure this out. And then Ernest the Cat Miller, somebody call my mama, comes out to the ring. They have a little back and forth. He says, I used to be WCW commissioner. Bully Ray's like, I don't talk to WCW rejects. Santino, and he starts to leave, and Santino's like, hey, where are you going? Get back here. I have the power to fire you. He says, I made a decision. We're going to have a match. Everybody here now is going to fight. And so, Hannafin sort of laughs and says, okay, so if you can read between the lines, it seems we're going to get Bully Ray, Steels, and Evans versus Kazarian, Grace, and James.
And that's what happened, yeah.
That's what happens.
So at one point, Jordan Grace hits Tasha with a Vader bomb, covers. Bully gets in the ring to break up the cover. And so that's when Jordan Grace picks up Bully Ray on her shoulders, maybe to do like a Death Valley Driver or something. He escapes. Kazarian takes him out, and Bully rolls out of the ring and walks up the ramp and walks backstage. He's like, I'm done. I want nothing more to do with this. So then Grace sends Evan to the floor. She tags in Mickey James. Mickey hits Tasha Steels with a Luthez press off the top rope, covers her for the win. So then Masha Slamovich walks to the ring. She hands Mickey a death warrant, and then Mickey opens it and just shoves it right back in her face.
Yeah, dude. Masha's so freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
She is so cool.
Yep.
Backstage, Santino is thanking Ernest the Cat Miller for the assist. He's like, hey, man, keep up the good work. Santino says, I've got a 6-man match of former champs booked to determine Alexander's next competitor. And he's like, hey, he says, do you have any advice for me? And Miller says, you're doing a great job. He says, follow your heart, trust your instinct. And then Santino then walks up to Dirty Dango, who's just hanging out. He says, hey, you used to be an authority figure. Or he says, you used to have a badge. Do you have any advice for me? Macklin, who's like the only normal one here, steps in. And this is where like dude, Impact is usually good about sort of compartmentalizing their comedy and their seriousness. So when you have Macklin show up and he's talking to Fandango and Santino Marella, it just has a weird tone to it. So he's like, hey, you got this guy in a match, but not me. He's like, I should be in this match. And then he's like, Dango says, how about you put me in the ring with Macklin? And then Santino makes that match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Macklin was upset he wasn't in the golden
six-shooter match
challenge or something that Santino was talking to Ernest Miller about. Yeah. Next, we got Deanna Prazo versus Ashley D'Amboise.
Dean Ambrose.
Deanna gets the win here. There was one moment where she was kind of taking Ashley a bit lightly. So Ashley got some offense in, but Deanna hits a powerbomb, Queen's Gambit to get the win. Mm-hmm. And then we get Gia Miller looking for PCO in the bowels of the arena they're in. And she eventually finds them, and she's like, what's you and Eddie, what's happening now? And PCO just goes, Eddie! Eddie! Shouts Eddie a bunch.
I do like Gia like selling how creepy it is. Like, she's like, I'm going to go try to interview this guy.
And like, she's like, I almost stepped on a rat. That was like the vibe.
And he's just in there going, like having a friggin' seizure or something. Oh man! So this next bit was weird. It's weird to see after Trey Miguel. I've only known Trey Miguel to be sort of like what we've known him with like the Rascals, like sort of a laid back guy. And so watching him be so animatedly like weird and misogynistic,
and trying to be so that's the word for it.
was just bizarre. I'm like, why is your face contorting like that? Anyways, he's like, hey, and he sits next to Ashley D'Amboise and says, hey, I watched your match. It was pretty good. you look really fit. With a few more squats in the gym, you'll be there in no time. And she's like, the
gosh.
fuck? She's like, thank you. And he's like, was that disrespect? And Ashley says, disrespect? You're the guy who defaced the X Division title because, he spray painted it.
Yeah.
And then that old dude, Mike Jackson, walks up. He's like, you know nothing about respecting women. And Trey's like, yeah, you know all about respecting women. Women dinosaurs. And then he goes on about how old he is.
He starts naming off a bunch of different dinosaurs, too.
Yeah. And then Jackson challenges to an X Division match. And Trey's like, yeah, okay, it's fine. We'll do it. Laughs him off.
Yeah, this felt weird.
It did feel weird because Trey Miguel was acting like completely abnormal, but
I know. I mean, he was trying to get heel heat, but by being, as you said, misogynistic, and it was,
yeah. Mm-mm. I mean, I will say this though. Like, I appreciate that he's putting some effort into character stuff. Like he was animated and stuff, and I was like, oh man, before he was sort of, I don't know, there's an obvious comparison there to Ricochet, high flyers who haven't really shown an outsized personality.
Yeah.
And so I can appreciate that he's putting some work into the character stuff. I'm not sure if this is a very good direction. I mean, in terms of being misogynistic, it was all fairly PG stuff. Like, it's not like he was crossing very many lines. I mean, Bully Ray was literally just threatening to throttle Mickey James out of the ring. But maybe that's why this is a little bit wonky, because we had just gotten that from Bully Ray, and now here's another heel character whose main gimmick in being a heel is being misogynistic.
Yeah. It seemed like an odd choice, not just for Trey Miguel specifically, because this is such a departure from what we have known him as. But you have two segments so close in the show, with heels trying to get heat in the same manner. Yeah, it seemed like a lot.
Mm-hmm,
yeah. Next, we had Taylor Wilde versus Killer Kelly. This was a really fun match. Taylor got a heat seeker on Kelly. This felt like the closest Killer Kelly had gotten to losing a match so far.
Yeah, I agree. I love this because there are two people who are getting pretty decent pushes right now.
Mm-hmm.
So to see them both go at it, I like that. It's not just like a squash match.
Exactly. So down towards the finish, Taylor Wilde rolls up Killer Kelly. Kelly reverses that to roll up of her own, but when Wilde kicks out, Killer Kelly puts on the Killer Clutch, and Wilde has to tap. It's a fun match, though.
Yeah, no, it was good stuff. Earlier on, Being the Impact, Diener had called Sammy to the ring. But this is like a big story beat. Why is this on?
Yeah, why was this
Impact?
on before Being the Impact?
So Diener calls Sammy to the ring, says the next step of the process is to see if you're willing to follow orders. I need you to go to 5 guys. Big Con needs at least 2 double-doubles.
Yeah, they'll give you our order. You're not going to write any of it down.
Oh no, really?
Yes.
He's memorizing it.
And if you get it wrong, you fail the process. He's like, okay, but do I get to eat my burger? No. You get to eat after we eat.
It's going to
be cold and the fries will be soggy.
No. He orders him to take out Delirious. And so Sammy hits him with a cactus driver. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah. But then we're backstage, and Diener tells Sammy, if you want to, remember again, he reiterates this for like the umpteenth time. If you want to join the design, it's a process. In fact, 7 steps to said process.
Oh, God.
It's each step, you got to make the right choice. Last week, you cut your hair. You made the right choice. Tonight, you made the right choice for step 2. Next week, it's on to step 3. You're in this golden 6-shooter match, right? Do you plan on competing in this match? And Sammy goes, yeah. Peter says, that's the right choice. You win that match, you win the title, you bring it to the design. And then Khan says, if you lose, there will be consequences.
No, so he's going to find out what those consequences are. Because I don't think Sammy's going to be winning that match.
No.
Anyways, after that we had I love that shit because that shit is it's so much fun to talk about and make fun of. Anyways.
Oh, it is. It's the new Honor No More storyline. It's so
it
silly.
is, yeah, it is. It's very silly, but it's also in its own way kind of cool,
Yeah.
So anyways, after that, Santino talks to Josh Alexander, says, are you cool with this golden 6-shooter match? And Josh is like, yeah, I'm cool with it. He's like, I'm happy that you're in Impact now. And then Giselle Shaw and Jai Vidal walk in, and then Shaw says, hey, since my tag title match didn't work out, but I did pin the Death Dolls last week, I want another shot. And then Santino's like, yeah, okay. He's like, but you need a partner. And he says, I'll find a partner for you. And then like somebody walks by. Oh, who was it?
Edwards walks
Yeah,
by.
Alicia Edwards is like, Alicia, would you like to be her tag partner? And she's like, no, of course not. She walks off, and then another girl just walks by and says, would you like to be? And she says, nope. And he's like, okay, nobody likes you. And then he walks off.
Yeah. Then we got Macklin versus Dirty Dango. Macklin gets the win here. Assume that was going to happen. Get the Trio O spear. You get the double underhook DDT. You get Macklin with his arm raised. He wins.
Yeah. I feel like Dango needs to be doing like more better things. But
yeah, because he's really good.
I wonder if the police thing, the fashion police thing, just killed his chances of. It's like, back in the day when like people get typecast into roles,
Yeah.
It's like it's hard for people to think of him as anything but Fandango or the cop.
Oh, I know. He's in a bit of a tricky position too, because he was Fandango, and that's up to that point what he's been known for. And so, like, does he just completely distance himself from it and just come up with something new and fresh for himself?
Yeah, right.
Or does he think, if I market myself somewhat based on that character, hence the name, hence the dance moves,
yeah,
is that going to be better for my career? I mean, I guess that's a decision once you're released from WWE, you got to make.
Well, it's a big risk because, not only does he make money probably on the circuit here, but on like, doing independence and Impact, but it's like, you're doing conventions and stuff. And it's like with conventions, you're probably going to make your most money sort of, marketing yourself as what you're best known as.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, I would imagine that it's not an easy thing to just all of a sudden pivot away from that. So,
if you do, not only you kind of taking a step back from your peak popularity, but unless it's like something mind-blowingly awesome,
right? Yeah,
you run the risk of just kind of spinning your wheels too.
I remember when Damian Sandow was released, he showed up in Impact, and the first thing he did was one of those bitter WWE promos.
Yeah.
But then eventually he reimagined himself as like a Liberace character, and it was brilliant. It was really good. He had like nude colored tight outfits on and stuff.
Yeah.
And Drake Maverick was with him. It was really good stuff. But it's a big risk, It's like a major risk to do that. So yeah, I don't know. I hope he figures it out because I really like him.
Yeah. Then we got a major players interview. Apparently, Chris Bay. Sorry, who? Steve?
Chris Bay.
Thank you. Ace Austin wants a match after what happened to Hard to Kill, and Myers says, well, they've been on the major player has been on a string of bad luck, while Ace, Austin, Chris Bay been on a string of good luck. They just got back from Japan and they were selling merch and doing hand gestures. He puts up a too sweet, and that's great. But that's not going to change anything. We're still one of the best tag teams. We are men, and they are children in a man's world. And he gets interrupted by Moose. And he says, I heard you two say bad luck. Do you ever think that your bad luck started when Joe Hendry beat you, Brian Myers, for the digital media title? And Cardona says, Moose, I see what you're doing. You're trying to get us to do your dirty work for you and take out Joe Hendry. But you're right. Hendry walks around here like he's the king of the internet. I'm the king of the internet. We are the greatest digital media champions of all time. And after we take out Bullet Club, I'm taking out Hendry and getting back my digital media title.
Look at this. The digital media division all of a sudden got to step up, man. We got Cardona, Myers, Moose, and Joe Hendry all in the digital media division now.
I know.
Nice.
Stacked division right now.
Stacked division right now. After that, Busted Open's David LaGreca interviewed his fellow Busted Open co-host, Tommy Dreamer. Tommy's just sulking. He's like, Tommy. Tommy says, me and you are brothers. Me and Bully, we used to be that way. He says, how many times has Bully walked off? How many times has he no-showed the show? And LaGreca says, hey, do you know if you and Bully can repair your relationship? Tommy says, no, because what does Bully say? He's always, I got you the Busted Open job. I got you into Impact. But have I ever asked him, hey, who got you into ECW? Who got you to partner with Devon? He says, no, why do I have to take Bully's negativity? He says, I'll still be on Busted Open because I have to. He says, but I won't hear. He says, Bully knows more than anybody that I may lose a match, but I'll never lose the war. And Bully and I are going to war. Like, didn't you already lose against him, dude?
Yeah. It's funny to me that Tommy has to toe this line. It was like, I won't deal with this at work except when I'm working on Busted Open. Here, not dealing with it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. because I have to over there. I'm going to completely and totally no sell it, and me and Tommy are going to be, or Bully are going to be joking around about various things.
Yes.
But here, no, we're at war. Blood feud.
Yeah. Blood feud. Yes. But on Busted Open, it's all good.
Fine. Everything's great.
Then we got our main event, Kenny King versus Mike Bailey in a fight pit. Go out of your way to watch this. It was tons of fun. A lot of great creative stuff here. Yeah, it's just awesome. It was an awesome bout.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect from this. Like, I sort of had Impact on over here while I was doing some editing. And then, like, I found myself just not editing because I was just staring at the match. Like, the match is that good. I would, definitely recommend it. This is really, really good stuff.
It is really, really good. So, Kenny's working over Mike Bailey's knee at points. Bailey's working over Kenny King's arm. Down towards the finish, King puts a chair in the ring, is looking for like a move, a double underhook move. Bailey escapes that. Looks for a kick. Kenny ducks it, so instead Bailey kicks the ring post. So that's when Kenny King puts on a figure four. Well, Bailey reverses the pressure, and then they keep on reversing it until they both kind of roll out of the ring. So out on the floor, Bailey hits a head kick. King gets back in the ring. Bailey goes to the top of the ramp, sprints down the ramp, hits Kenny King with the drop kick. And then Bailey climbs to the top of the ring post. Keep in mind, there's no ropes
on
the ring. And hits this crazy twisting splash to the floor.
Yeah.
And then he's looking to hit Ultimo Weapon. Instead, he just leaps right into a knee from Kenny King. And then Kenny King follows with a spine buster on the apron. Gets in the ring, hits a kick, locks on a knee bar. And then Bailey breaks that up by grabbing the chair that was still in the ring, hitting Kenny King with it. He just starts hitting Kenny King with a bunch of strikes, locks on an arm bar, hits a standing Ultimo Weapon, some more ground and pound, and that's when he puts the chair over Kenny King's head, stomps on it, and the rest like, that's enough, no more.
Yeah, that's done. Yeah,
a really vicious, brutal, violent finish to the match.
Yeah, definitely go out of your way to check it out. It's so good.
It was a lot of fun.
All right, we got a bunch of questions here on the Patreon. You can leave a question on for any of our shows that we do throughout the week. We got a bunch here, so we'll go ahead and start this one here. Dylan Haggett says, who do you guys think will start each Rumble match? So I think Liv is going to start off the women's match.
Yeah, she'll be one in the women's Rumble.
Who's going to start the men's match?
I mean, Cody will probably want to.
Yeah, Cody will definitely want to. Because, I feel like it's probably going to be like Liv and, I don't know, Raquel maybe starting the match. Because they have that story. Shotzi maybe if she's healthy, yeah.
I know Finn said that he wanted to try to last an hour at a Rumble in an interview recently, so maybe he'll start one.
It could be. Yeah, that'd be interesting if it was Cody. Because of the entrance, as White Brownie here says. Yeah. Let's see here. Mason Jowers says, who should be the next 3 NXT men's and women's champions? I feel like Cora Jade should probably be the next women's champion in NXT.
Yeah. It'd be pretty smart, I think, to have Cora and Roxanne actually trade that belt a couple times.
I agree. Yeah, I think that'd be good. But then after that's said and done, after it's Cora.
Say Roxanne gets it back. Maybe Tiffany Stratton.
That's not a bad pick.
Or is Alba Fire ever going to get that title?
I don't think so. She's going to go to Maine first.
Probably. Isla Dawn, maybe?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was, well, it depends on if they're going to go to Maine or not, but maybe somebody in Toxic Attraction. They're probably going to split after that title match.
It seems like
they should anyways.
It seems like the trajectory they're on.
Yeah. And then men's.
It should be Braun. Then, well, Braun has it, so it should be Mello.
It should be Mello unless he goes to Maine.
And then it should be Tyler Bate.
Oh, it's not going to be Tyler Bate.
Or Ilya.
Should be Ilya. That's what it should be.
And then after Ilya.
Oh, man, Von Wagner.
Noam Dar.
Yeah. Supernova living.
It's going to be Supernova Sessions. That's all I really want.
Supernova Sessions. Rich says, name a wrestler or tag team you guys would sit down and share a bowl of croutons with. I don't know why this name immediately popped in mind, but Big Damo.
All right.
I feel like he's a crouton. You just sit there with a big bowl of croutons.
Kojima. He loves his bread.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. That's good. That makes sense.
Bread Club, yeah.
Bread Club, Crouton Club. Peter Lewin says, if Rock is out and Cody's been announced, who do you think will be the big surprise of the Rumble? Who's going to be a big surprise? Yeah, I get the feeling it's going to be some Forbidden Door shit going on, man. It's going to be like a Tanahashi or something weird like that. That'd be crazy. Go
That'd be something else.
Go
House
Ace.
of Torture. Yeah, White Brownie says evil. Give you House of Torture.
Yeah, there you go. Von Wagner.
Yeah, you really want Von Wagner, though, don't you?
Hey, Joe. Who, me or Joe Blow? Joe Blow's a big surprise? Not a big surprise.
Oh, that's a good question here. Frozen Tape. In kayfabe, who picks up the bill when the Judgment Day eats out? I think in kayfabe, out of kayfabe, it's Finn Balor.
Finn Balor. I'm making Prince Devitt money. Got member Jason Dwyer here said, with WWE finally releasing Bray Wyatt's new theme, Shatter, are there any themes you heard and eagerly awaited its release? I always loved the Kanellis' theme song.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Greatest
love I'll ever know.
I remember eagerly awaiting Attitude, the friggin' the CD back in the day.
Oh, yeah. I bought that CD.
Yeah, we all did. It was
great.
awesome.
David Matushek with the Rumble a week away. Do you think anyone outside of WWE may make an appearance similar to Mickie James during her Impact tenure?
Yeah, man. Go Ace. Tanahashi.
Do.
Yeah. Or Jay White. Switchblade. Oh.
Could
Switchblade. Could be Switchblade.
Could
Oh, Knife Heaven, yes.
I don't know. When is his loser leaves New Japan match against Hikuleo happening? Is that a new beginning? I'll check on that.
All right. I'll ask another question. Mondo says, if John Moxley ever returns to WWE, you think it'll be as Moxley and not as Dean Ambrose?
It will probably be as Ambrose, but it should be as Moxley.
If it's Vince, it's Dean Ambrose. If it's Triple H, it's John Moxley. That's my guess. Let's see here. Oh, Cruz, this is an easy one, and it's a sad one. He says, when, not if, Vince returns to TV, will the crowd boo him or sing along with his theme song?
So, sadly, there'll be a portion of the crowd that will sing along to his theme song.
And that portion is 90%. It's going to be far more that are happy to see him than not. Let's see here. Is this a question? This is more of a statement from Kayfabe Smayfabe. Says he wants to see Sammy win against Roman. Jack Napier says, if The Rock doesn't face Roman at Mania, how big of a letdown do you think that would be on a 1 to 10 scale? Like 3, 2, 3.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna make that much.
You got Cody.
I know.
If you didn't have Cody and you didn't have Sammy, then you still got Seth.
I know.
It's a fucking loaded roster with stories for Roman right now. There's a lot of people it could be.
Apparently, there's no date yet revealed for this loser leaves.
Really?
No, it was. He challenged him at New Year's Dash.
It was a mere suggestion.
Yeah.
You know why? Because they're probably both headed at WWE, so they're like,
Could
"Oh
be.
shit, how do we do this?"
Double pin. They both
Make
lose.
it a triple threat, and Evil pins them both. Or Master Watto pins them both.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, here. Patrick Sparks says, pick one wrestler from the Fed, AEW, New Japan, and Ring of Honor to help you build the clubhouse. Is there a password to get in said clubhouse? A wrestler from the Fed to help us build a clubhouse. Who's going to help us build a clubhouse? Don't interrupt my smoke.
Are you interrupting my smoke?
You interrupt my smoke, man. Bullet Club. That's an interesting name. You guys got a clubhouse?
I'm trying to think of someone in WWE that seems like they're good.
A carpenter.
Oh, it's Seth Rollins. He's the architect.
Seth Rollins, Tyler Black. You can help us build a clubhouse. Metaphorical bullets.
AEW.
I feel like Hangman. Like if you're a cowboy, you got to be handy.
Yeah.
Hangman
I feel like
Adam
he's good with
Page.
his hands. Yeah.
Yeah.
New Japan.
New Japan.
I mean, their faction is a House of Torture.
House of Torture. There you go. That's good. Yeah. Evil, Dick Togo, etc.
I mean, we know the show carries a wrench with them. That's good for something.
Yeah, there you go.
Building
Yeah.
a clubhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. Clubhouse. Is there a password again in set Clubhouse? And then Ring of Honor.
Those promos were so good.
Ring of Honor. I'm trying to think of people who are even in Ring of Honor right now.
Brian Cage.
Oh, that's good. He's the machine.
Yeah.
You need machines to build houses.
You do.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's so funny. All right, let's go ahead. You ready to do this?
Yeah, let's talk with Paul. It's time for a call with Paul.
Well, my paperwork is stacked up beyond belief.
Oh, I'm sure it is. It just keeps stacking up, doesn't it?
Because I had to do it last time.
Ah, that's why.
Yeah, so I
just
have
thought
like
it was never
double the
ending as
amount.
it was.
Well, it is, but now it's double never ending.
Do you ever do paperwork when Paul doesn't call?
It's my opportunity to do paperwork.
Oh, it's like The Rock that hasn't had any opportunity to get in ring shape.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hadn't had the opportunity. All right, here we go. Oh, shit.
What?
Hold on. I'm having issues with Zoom right now.
Uh-oh.
Right, now we got him.
Did you lose the still of him?
Dude. Hello. Hi. Hello.
Hi, Triple H.
Hello. Oh, my God.
What?
This was
What's
you're on thin ice.
Why?
Steve, because the last time I called into the show, I had to stare at that chubby, dumb, fat face of Fat John Cena, and I was none too happy about it.
Well, here's the thing. I went on vacation. My broadcast partner didn't have to do the show.
I find it funny you
to.
go on vacation.
Well, I mean, like my family wants to do things.
Like all you got to do is sit here and talk about wrestling for an hour. That is a vacation. Your whole life is a vacation.
That, but sometimes my family wants to go out of town.
My goodness gracious.
You're asking me a question.
You are very sassy today, aren't you? You're very spicy.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, oh yeah. Anyways. So where are we on that JR conversation? You can call JR or what?
No, we're not going to do that. That's a non-starter.
Can we practice role play?
Nope.
I'll be JR. How about this? I be you be JR.
Nope.
What's your JR impression sound like?
My JR is, oh man, I'm not doing JR.
Oh, that's a pretty good one. Anyways, what's your question today? What are we doing today? Oh, SmackDown.
Oh, SmackDown preview, yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, God. I just want to talk about anything but business because Dad's back, and I've already got 5 text messages from him today. He's like, oh, hey, Paul, it might be a great idea to, have Gunther drop that title to Braun Strowman and then have him be released from the company. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. Gunther's going to be in the Rumble. Don't interrupt. He's going to be in the Rumble. And then we got this, I arranged for this multi-million-dollar pitch black match. Mm-hmm. And then Dad's trying to change that, too, into something even stupider than it is.
Oh, gosh.
I'll be honest with you, it's already pretty stupid.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Let me ask you this. Can I ask you this before we get to SmackDown?
You're going to ask a question.
What's up with The Rock? Is he going to be at Mania or no?
Dwayne?
Yeah, Dwayne.
Wouldn't you like to know that? Well, the Wrestling Observer himself was fed some information, a wink wink, that he won't be at WrestleMania, wink wink. But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
When you think back to, like, for example, Rock versus Hogan, right? Do you like Rock is in better shape walking around on a cheat day than Hogan is?
Yeah.
At the day of that WrestleMania match, agree or disagree? Agree without a doubt. So yeah, Dwayne will be ready to play the game come WrestleMania. Will he be there? Will he not be there? Find out by WrestleMania. We need a huge response because otherwise, Dad, he's waiting. He's waiting. By the way, where are we on getting that arsenic?
I'm not getting involved in that.
He likes cinnamon toast with a little bit of cinnamon and sugar. I'm gonna add a third ingredient.
That's really good.
Arsenic.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about SmackDown tonight.
All right, I'm gonna smack down my dad's toast with arsenic.
Oh my goodness. So first thing I got here is Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens prepare for a manic contract signing.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be all over the place. That's what manic means. Crazy, weird. I don't know if it's appropriate for me to say that because I think manic is like an actual diagnosis.
It is.
Of
I
somebody.
think, yeah.
So this is probably inappropriate, mildly offensive, but I come from the Attitude Era. Suck it.
All right. Next, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus form Warrior Bond in fight with Viking Raiders in SmackDown Tag Team Title Tournament first round match.
Yeah, they're gonna do stuff naked together. That's how you form a warrior bond. Remember when DX? Remember we had like our little dicks in like the little Christmas stocking thing or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And our butt cheeks were everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's how we forged our warrior bond. So it's gonna be similar to that. You're gonna see Drew's hog. It's huge.
Wow.
Oh my God, it's huge.
It's like when we had new Drew on.
Yeah, I love We Book Raw. That was hilarious.
Oh, thanks, Triple H.
Yeah, it was great stuff. Flashback, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Rawgate. Can we get a Rawgate mutant in WWE at some point, please?
Oh man, believe me, I've been trying. I've been trying all sorts of technology. I've been throwing like dogs and monkeys into this like blender.
Well, I didn't mean actual Rawgate. Just like put somebody in like a. It's really
man, it's got to be the real thing. It's got to be the real thing. Yeah, oh yeah, it's not turning out good. It's like a Cronenberg film in my kitchen. It's not good, I tell you what. So many animals have given their lives.
That sounds like a nightmare. So
no, it isn't. It's like the fly in my house.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. That's horrible.
Oh, it's terrible.
Horrific.
It's all I know. Why am I doing it? But I do.
I don't know. You don't have to.
Yeah, it's because I need something to fight Dad. Because you're not old enough your end of the deal with the arsenic.
It's not my problem. Sorry, Triple H.
Listen, this is what you do. You just go on the dark web and you type in arsenic. And then you get like people will just deliver it to your door, evidently. I've read YouTube videos.
I'm going to back away from this conversation right now.
No, okay, you get back over here. Come back over here. Listen to me.
What?
Just think about it.
No.
JR on this show.
Not going to happen.
Just do it.
Full stop. No, sorry.
Just do. What are you a coward?
No, I'm not a coward. I just don't want to do it.
Are you ready to play the game?
If that's the game, no, I'm not going to do it. It's my time.
He's gone. He left now. He left.
He's really pushing the JR stuff. I've made it perfectly clear to you. I'm not doing JR.
I don't know. You gotta make it clear to him, evidently. I don't know. He doesn't like me.
That's pretty obvious.
Right? Did he call me Fat John Cena again?
What do you think?
Yes. Man. What did he say about The Rock? Is he coming back or what?
He said, oh, yeah, The Rock, something about feeding information to the Observer about Rock not coming back. Wink, wink.
All subterfuge then, huh? Well, that's cool. That's good. So yeah, did he convince you though, JR? No, yes or no?
No, absolutely not.
No?
I'm not going to be swayed on that.
Okay. Oh man. No JR for Larson. All right. You guys can check out episodes of Smash Zone right now at patreon.com/Stephen Larson. Also, we did a WCW Nitro episode review for patrons and YouTube channel members, so you can check that out as well. Today at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, we'll be going live for Overrun, our bonus episode. Don't know what we're going to talk about. Going to figure that out in moments.
Yep.
Thanks for checking this out, everybody. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.